apparently such a big and broad public miracle that it's the only one told in all four Gospels. Today's story follows immediately after that. And perhaps because it was such a big and public miracle, Jesus maybe feared a messianic uprising. So he sends the disciples across the Sea of Galilee, gets rid of the crowds, and he goes up on the mountain for some solitude. Then curiously, about 10 or 12 hours later, he performs a unique miracle. In the last watch of the night, before the dawn, he goes out to his disciples walking on the water. And whereas the feeding of the 5,000 was a big public miracle, this was more of a private inside miracle. Because other than the story, the disciples and Jesus never refer to it elsewhere in the Gospels. It is a story that is told in 3 of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, curiously not Luke, the other synoptic Gospel, but rather John. And although earlier in Matthew, Jesus calms the wind and the storm when he's in the boat, and the disciples are amazed, this is the first time in the Gospel of Matthew that the disciples acknowledge that Jesus is indeed the Son of God. Listen now for these words from the 14th chapter of Matthew. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get in the boat and go on to the other side while he dismissed the crowds. After he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there, alone. But by this time, the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the winds were against it. And early in the morning, Jesus came walking toward the disciples on the sea. When they saw him, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost!" They cried out in fear. Jesus immediately spoke to them and said, "Take heart, I am. Fear not." Peter answered, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened and started to sink, crying out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got in the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." The word of the Lord.